All right, happy Monday. Why do I feel like this is going to be a long week? But it's 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. We begin some breaking news tonight. Axios reporting Maine senatorial candidate Graham Plattner will actually now meet with Democrat senators in D.C. tomorrow as concerns grow within the party about his ever-growing list of controversies. We're going to have all that and more with a reporter who's been on this story since day one. Also, welcome to Pride Month, as an activist federal judge on the D.C. Circuit Court ruling that the War Department's ban on trans people from serving in the military is somehow unconstitutional. Okay, Obama-appointed judge Robert Wilkins, of course, writing that Secretary Pete Hegseth's policy is arbitrary and based upon animus. Trump's the commander-in-chief. It's his policy. He can do this in the military. I don't know. Who do you want to come save you to that judge? You want someone like me or, I don't know, Dylan Mulvaney? Choose wisely. And the Trump DOJ says it's canceled its anti-weaponization fund after federal ruling said it could not proceed. Now, the department's saying that it disagreed with the decision and that the fund was open to all persecuted people, regardless of party affiliation, but that it would ultimately abide by the decision. I just got a question. What does this do for Trump's settlement? Because that was part of it. But first, the circus continues in New Jersey, but some of the people getting charged are the journalists. Let's do this. All right, I don't know if it's like a menu for Democrats. Massive fraud in Minnesota, start the ICE riots. Trump does something good, send in congressmen to talk at an ICE facility. Oh, another scandal with Graham Plattner. Quick, let's organize another ICE riot. Yes, I said organize because here are the pallets of supplies being shipped in for the protesters. These are not organic. These things, like these non-showering rabid leftists, they attend these things. These people would rather do nothing if they're not getting paid for it. That's how I know they're getting paid for it. They are being trained before they go into these things.
If you have not been fully trained, you are not qualified to do anything.
Right. Trained to resist. We know that most of these people aren't even local.
We know that people from outside the state have been interfering in the protests and escalating them. 5 of the 6 people arrested last night by state police were from outside New Jersey.
You would think they got all their beans out too by now, but no, this has been going on for almost 2 weeks. Over the weekend and last night, more arrests, DHS pulling like random clips off the internet in an effort to dissuade violence. Obviously, here, I love their caption. Don't be this guy. Whoop, woohoo. Like, bye. Snatched like Maduro. Actually, look, if you look, he's even wearing the same tracksuit, too. Now, real quick, does he go to immigrant jail or does he go to, like, regular bad guy jail? Also, that dude we told you about who threatened the ICE agent, remember him?
I'll kill your whole family. Your whole family's dead. Come on. Children, your wife, all dead. Put it, my boy. I have your face, mother. You're dead! Dead!
You come at my face with 3rd grade chemistry goggles on. Yeah, he was charged, and if he's convicted, he will serve 10 years in prison and get a $250,000 fine. Sayonara, clown. But the people who are probably the same ones they hired to, like, do all the environmental protests, like the Dakota Pipeline and Greta Thunberg rallies and all this fracking, and they're dumping trash everywhere now, you know, for the environment. Nothing says I support illegal immigration better than just dumping trash on the sidewalk.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
I'm pretty sure you took
Let go of me.
I'm pretty sure you stole that.
Leave space.
You stole that.
Well, also wouldn't be a party without assaulting the people who are there to cover it, you know, giving them the attention that their mom never gave them. And then a bunch of conservative journos somehow ended up getting arrested after getting assaulted. Not the people screaming at ICE and throwing stuff at their cars and breaking their windshields, just arrest the people covering it. Now, both Nick Sorter and Cam Higbie, who were also assaulted and there, are preparing to assist with bail and legal help because it appears to be a free-for-all. Not a word, though, from the politicians about the First Amendment then for the journalists that are getting locked up. Not a word from Hakeem Jeffries and friends about that. Just them trying to make the case that the illegals are somehow locked up for no reason in like a prison camp in Hanoi.
We spoke to several individuals, none of whom has a criminal record, many of whom have been detained here at Delaney Hall for months. This is not America.
Yes, jails are full of people claiming to be innocent. But you want to know why they are detained that long, Hakeem? Oh, right, because you and your Democrat buddies have challenged every deportation order possible at every level, and you have completely clogged up the immigration court system. You really care about these people? How about you just tell them to leave the country on their own, like over 1 million already have, and come back in the proper way, Hakeem? No. You'd rather just use them, load up blue congressional districts in the census and give them massive taxpayer benefits at my expense, by the way, your expense at home. There's a term for that. It's called using people.
The lack of access to quality food, that's not America. The lack of access to adequate medical treatment, that's not America. The retaliation that is taking place, that's not America.
Let me tell you what's not American, Hakeem. Coming here illegally. America is what America is because of our laws and our culture. And if you break those laws, you go to jail, like the one you're standing next to. Also, it's not like a sandals resort. It's a detention facility where you're given the bare minimum to survive. These people had the opportunity to go back. DHS, I think, even offered them like $1,000 self-deportation bonus, but no, didn't take that. And I know you just said you apparently spoke to all of them, Hakeem, and they think they're innocent and blah, 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 blah. You want to know why they think they're innocent?
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard.
Because you and your cronies for the last 10 years have flooded propaganda into countries south of us. Just, hey, guys, come on in here. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 plus people, caravans, making their way like 2,000 miles all the way from south. Yeah, I'm sure that's totally organic. No, it's not. It's because you guys, you Democrats, have been telling them that they can just come here. You guys have had NGOs funding it, telling these people, here, just come on in. You'll give you a Obama phone and free stuff, and it's not a crime if you get caught at the border. And then we'll just let you go, and you can be on your merry way into America. That's why they told you they didn't commit any crimes, because they didn't know they committed a crime. DHS, though, kindly noting, a reminder for @Rep Jeffries. One, DHS doesn't make the laws. Congress does. Looking at you, Hakeem. We don't pick and choose which laws to enforce, and neither should you as a lawmaker. Two, it's a crime to enter the United States illegally. Everyone being held inside Delaney Hall broke the law. U.S. Code, Title 8, Section 1325. So they did break the law.
Delaney Hall should be shut down, and every single individual, particularly those at a high level connected to this facility, they're engaging in a depraved indifference to human life.
No, they're not. Not even close, actually. And they're not going to shut down an ICE facility. Newsflash. Because after this one, they're just going to go protest at the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one until Act Blue runs out of funneling other people's money to them. Once again, Democrats find themselves, look at this poll right here, on the wrong side of a 60-30 issue. Not even 60-40. They barely have 30%, as you can see all the way on the right on this one. These are not rational people. They're just not. The reps I'm talking about, the animals outside protesting, should be sprayed with fire hoses. Maybe not just to break up the crowd, but simply for a bath. They probably haven't washed their keffiyehs in 12 protests by now. But I want to give you a sincere thank you, Mickey Sherrill, for your stern warning to the people smashing cop cars.
To the people coming from out of state to create chaos and dangerous situations, you should not be here.
Okay. I'm sure they'll all just pack up and go home. Anyway, they're already lining up to block traffic tonight. And you see they have a protest zone. I'm sure they're all just settled in with s'mores and stuff and somber, nice, wholesome night of protest. We'll check back tomorrow on it. Reporter for GB News, who was out there in the chaos at Delaney Hall, Ben Leo. All right, Ben, you were assaulted out there, and that's why you're not there tonight. You needed a little bit of space on this thing. What is this? What is going on there?
Hey, Carl, great to see you. Yeah, we went down there on the way to New York for something else. We thought we'd pop in because we'd seen the really violent scenes from the past 9 nights or so, ICE agents being bitten, battles and skirmishes with police. So I thought, look, I don't really want to get involved in that too heavily. So I thought I'd go down there at 11 in the morning when the sun was out, quite a nice day, expecting people to be, in a pretty better mood than they were the night before. I was mistaken. I asked some very simple questions to a couple of the protesters there, very basic questions, gave them some facts about UK illegal migration. One being that certain nationalities in the UK, as you probably find here, Carl, are more prone to committing sexual offences than native Brits. That sparks off an absolutely crazy response from one guy who threatened to break my jaw.
Ben, we actually have that clip. Let's roll this real quick.
What you want to do? You want to kick for them? You want to kick up for them? Kick.
Want to what, sorry?
You want to kick up for them?
I think you got to go.
You out here kicking up for them. You came out here. You knew what it was when you came out here. You knew what you were doing asking those questions. You got what you wanted.
Dude, you are
now do something about it.
Very, very
do something about it. You got what you wanted, right?
Mate, you do something.
Do something about it.
You're the one squaring.
I am.
How dare you ask a question, and you journalist, you?
I know, and the police, actually, that guy was completely off his rocker, a complete nutcase, far left, commie, Marxist, lunatic, brainwashed by the mainstream media for the past decades or so. No surprise, by the way, that you have assassination attempts on President Trump, you have the murder of Charlie Kirk when you've got people like that roaming the streets. But what I found from the police was, I went over to them and said, guys, by the way, I put up with this for about 5 minutes, but I said, hey, police, I respect you. Are you going to do anything about this absolute lunatic who's barking in my face like a dog and threatening to smash my jaw? The police said to me, you're getting in his face as well and you're being provocative. And I said, goodness me, what a load of nonsense. Even if I was asking provocative questions, that is no excuse for that kind of behaviour. And I'll say again, Carl, we saw the same thing with Charlie Kirk. He was murdered and slain in cold blood, holding a microphone, sharing ideas, trying to hear other people's opinions and experience dialogue with people, and he was slain in the same way. For some reason, these lunatics, these nutjobs who are paid for and organised, think that battling ideas is enforceable with violence and killing people if it gets to that stage. They're completely off their head.
I wanted to go down there, and there were some people at this network that were strongly advised against that because I wouldn't have tolerated that guy doing that in my face. But then they arrested, I think, 2-3 journalists. I mean, I'm watching these videos. Journalists are backing away, and they're aggressing them, and then they arrest the journalist.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the police. Is it because it's a Democrat state? Maybe you can inform me as an American, but if that was the UK, the first time somebody made a threat for violence, he would have been in handcuffs straight away. And the other funny thing, Carl, as well, is there was some other sort of wingman guy. If you watch the full clip online, you can see it. But there was another guy in glasses who was yapping away at me on the left there. I don't know who he was or
DMX.
where he came from or who's paying him. He said to me multiple times, he said, I think you need to go home. I think you need to go back to Britain. That guy was wearing a T-shirt saying beyond borders. And the irony, completely lost on this stupid nutcase, was that he was telling me, as a legal Brit here on a visa, paying taxes in your great country, to go home whilst he's protesting the detention of illegals, potentially murderers, child rapists. They are all crazy, Carl.
Ben, it's just make it make sense. And every day I'm like, yeah, I could go on for 8.5 minutes about how crazy this is. Ben, we appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
All right. Oh, speaking of ICE, all right, stop, collaborate, and listen. ICE is back with a brand new invention. 8 p.m. Vanilla Ice is going to be on this network tonight, guys. You better tune in for that. It's going to be so good about America 250 and all these people dropping out. It's just super weird. Anyway. Coming up, a white man is allowed to die after being stabbed by a Sikh man with a ceremonial knife in the UK. This time, exactly the type of crime that will replicate itself here if the left gets their way with the thought crime process that they love while murder matters. Coming up. But first, the Nazi-tattooed pseudo-oyster farmer who went to Hofstra or something like that from Maine is rocked by another campaign scandal. I don't know how many more he can endure, but he's touting his wife to play cleanup with it. Nope. Next.
A Social Security update. Millions collect Social Security, but 70% of Americans don't get their full benefits. Now, a new report shows how to boost your Social Security by as much as $188,000. Author Matthew Allen reveals 5 key strategies in a new report. Newsmax calls it the best guide for retirees. Everyone needs this free Social Security report. Act today to get your full benefits.
What if I told you you can get a brand new metal roof from Erie Home for 50% off the installation? Now you can. Our metal roofs are proven to withstand 120 miles per hour wind and 2-inch hail, all backed by a 50-year warranty. Call now for your free estimate.
Some wireless companies say that they stand for something. What exactly do they stand for, and why won't they say it out loud? Let me tell you what Patriot Mobile stands for. They stand for the lives of the unborn. They stand for the Second Amendment and the right to protect yourself and your family. They stand for our veterans and first responders who sacrifice so much for our freedom. Make the switch to Patriot Mobile today and support a company that doesn't just say they stand for something, but one that stands for the things that matter the most.
They tell you to optimize, to hack, but what if you were never broken? Armor Colostrum, the first food of life, reawakens your innate brilliance. 400 nutrients, 4 seconds, 1 daily revival.
You can join the Tunnel to Towers mission to do good by donating your car to today's veterans. Your car donation will help Gold Star families, as well as injured veterans, our first responders, and our homeless veterans. Donating your car is quick and simple. Any car is accepted, and we will pick up the car for free. Simply call 844-BRAVES.
By donating your car, you can make a real difference. You can do good.
So House Speaker Mike Johnson believes that stock trading should be banned in the House, but understands why some people rely on it.
The salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. When you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year. And the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy, look, at least let them engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to, take care of their family. But on balance, my view is we probably should do that because I think it's been abused in the past.
Sure, the congressional salary hasn't changed, and they're lucky because they do a worse job than they've ever done. Congress is one of those positions that if it wasn't like a binary position where you had to elect somebody, we would just leave the job vacant. We have $39 trillion in debt. The SAVE Act's still not passed. Why should they get a raise? Why should they even get paid what they do? Especially when they're putting up candidates like Graham Plattner, and there's a non-zero chance he actually gets elected. Katie Zacharia, political and legal strategist, and Jon Fetherston is the reporter from the Maine Wire and has been following the evolution of the Plattner campaign since it was a goldfish. This to me is just, John, insane that this guy even has a chance.
It's mind-boggling, Carl, that he's still in the race. I mean, it's day after day, another controversy comes over. How he can show up on a pedophile site and still have an active account on Kick, even after the allegations came out over the weekend, is just mind-boggling. His campaign is imploding, and you have to think that Democrat leadership is telling him, hey, it's time to step down, it's time to get out of the way. Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, who suspended her campaign, is now putting out, innuendos that she's still on the ballot. It feels like she might be getting back into the campaign.
Yeah, but Katie, Plattner's wife, has now tried to calm the water. She's released her own video. Roll this real quick.
I don't even know if I have the right words to describe what we've been going through, but our marriage counselor helps. My personal counselor helps. Graham's personal counselor helps. And we work on our mental health every day. No marriage is perfect, and I don't want a perfect marriage.
I mean, what I got from that, Katie, is personal mental health coach, marital coach, and they have 3 mental health counselors between the two people, and this guy wants to run for Senate?
Right, if you can't stand up to the heat, get out of the race. Look, I like this because this is like the Jennifer Newsom, Cybel Newsom treatment. Like, keep talking, keep speaking, and it's really going to shoot your husband's campaign straight into the ground because she's not doing him any favors here. And
Did she run that by her therapist?
Right,
Yeah.
or all three of them.
All three.
The marriage therapist probably needs to consult in it. But this is problematic because this is actually emblematic of the Democrat Party. He hasn't been admonished by the Democrat Party. He was elevated to the anti-oligarchy tour with Bernie Sanders. This is the type of behavior that is showing and exposing what the Democrats are willing to put up with as long as they can stay in power. So I don't know what it's going to take, Carl, to get this guy off.
I mean, he's meeting with senators tomorrow, so we'll keep you posted on that. But, John, you know, Gertner's video did a little to calm the water. So Plattner trotted her out alongside him as he addressed this yesterday. Roll this.
These people are going to try to make this race about anything but what it's supposed to be about, which is policy. They never want to talk about policy. Amy and I have a very loving and very happy marriage. They would very much like to try to rip that apart. They're going to come after us in every awful way that they possibly can.
John, this is great. I've been wanting to talk about policy for like 15 years, but all these people want to talk about trans and the kids and socialism and all this other stuff. Now he wants to talk about policy.
You know, Carl, I've been to a dozen Plattner rallies. He's never once talked about policy. You know, he sends his wife out there to make a hostage video and now is trying to say that he has a loving relationship. She did 20 takes on that. Can you imagine what the 19 takes looked like before that was the one that they released? I mean, this is chaos.
She looks like a deer in headlights, and she's like, "Oh, what am I doing here?" But like this, Katie, they're bringing, like John just said, they're bringing back Janet Mills, who she was the one, if you don't remember, who challenged Trump at the White House about trans men and women's sports and stuff. And Katie, I look at this and I'm like, that's what you got. You got. This is what I said. I would rather leave nobody in office. You've got Susan Collins, who's like, by the way, in this race, she's my best friend, but she's horrible. And then you've got Janet Mills and Graham Plattner, and that's the best Maine can do.
Yeah, and now he's saying, I'm going to walk on policy. I'm going to run on policy. There is no policy you can run on except what? We're going to talk about the trans situation, which is an unwinnable thing. But look, we may disagree on Susan Collins. Susan Collins came out in support of the Save America Act. That is what a lot of other senators have not done.
Okay.
Yes, and she's a necessary component here. And Republicans, it's never going to be perfect, but we have to get behind someone who can beat Plattner, and I think she can beat him if she gets the support. Look, all I care about right now is pass that Save America Act, because otherwise we are not going to have a country if we don't regulate who's going to the ballot box. And Plattner can keep going because it's just showing, again, like the Jay Jones situation in Virginia. The Democrats don't care how bad it gets as long as they stay in power.
Yeah, well, that is actually true. John, real quick, does Plattner actually have a chance?
No, Susan Collins has been elected multiple times in the state. Scott Pressler was here trying to pass the SAVE Act over the weekend. Susan Collins is going to support it. Collins wins this easily.
I hope so. Look, she's my best friend in this scenario, and then we'll figure it out from there. John, Katie, we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, America doesn't have a talent shortage. It has a hiring problem. One company challenging employers across the country to make one hire. One veteran, one military spouse, or one first responder. We got the man behind this project, Anchors of Hope, next.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.
What if you're sick at home or traveling and can't get medical help or prescriptions? Doctors say a medical emergency kit is the answer. Joining me is Dr. Drew.
Thank you. And yes, these kits put you in charge of your health. They come with physician-prescribed medication to treat multiple common and some serious issues as well.
What are some examples?
Sure. Generic Z-Pak, amoxicillin, other essential antibiotics and antivirals that treat flu, pneumonia, strep, ear infections, sinus infections, urinary tract infections, and more.
So it is like urgent care and a pharmacy at home?
Exactly. No waiting, no pharmacy, no copays. You feel better faster and avoid serious complications.
How do you know what medicines to take?
You just match your symptoms to the doctor-written guide or schedule a quick telehealth call.
Sound advice. Order online in minutes at the website below and save $45. Thank you, doctor.
Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code news.
Millions of Americans rely on a statin to reduce cholesterol, but statins can deplete CoQ10 levels. I recommend Cunol CoQ10 with 3 times better absorption and the #1 cardiologist recommended form. It helps replenish what statins deplete. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Why go on Roe? Because 1 in 4 guys experience ED. On Roe, ED feels like no big deal. Connect with a provider to find treatment that could be right for you. 100% online.
Roe designed or curated treatments to make ED feel less stressful. There are options to fit every need, like fast-acting dissolvables or daily gummies. If 1 in 4 guys deal with ED,
then 1 in 4 guys should go on Roe.
Guys, connect with a provider at roe.co to see if you qualify.
The first day back from maternity leave is so weird. We get it. Find a caregiver who does too. When it's not you, it's care.com.
Sir, he's here to see you.
So, are you ready to join forces? PCMag provides complete protection for your computer and smartphone against malware and ransomware, and it's 100% American-made and supported security.
Today, Cyberman and his unknown partner delivered a massive victory, protecting homes, businesses, and federal devices from ransomware.
Get protected now at PCmatic.com.
When curiosity strikes about the everyday lives of your family, we're here with answers only your ancestors can provide. See their stories at Ancestry.
Hey, I'm Daniel, one of the founders of Ridge. My dad and I realized that most wallets are falling apart, stuffed to the max, and barely fit in your back pocket. So we set out to create something better. Ridge is built to last a lifetime and is the perfect balance of modern style and durability. Find yours at ridge.com.
Stop, check this out. Our most advanced performance frame, Talon, is out. It's a bestseller. We just got it back in stock, and I want to show you a little bit about it. These come with our signature lost and broken protection, and you can try them risk-free for 30 days. Check them out at shadyrays.com.
All right, let's do some military stuff. As the U.S. and Iran do this peace talk thing, it's seeming to stall. Iran's president is reportedly resigning. I don't even know what he did at this point. Sending a letter to the bunker of Khamenei calling out the fact that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has taken over large parts of the Iranian government. So who knows who's in charge over there? Mike Sarraille, retired U.S. Navy SEAL officer and chief talent officer at Overwatch Mission Critical, and Kirk Offel, founder and CEO of Overwatch Mission Critical. Mike, we're going around, and I feel like this 60-day pause is more so we can figure out who the hell to talk to.
I think you're right. The fact that Pezeshkian is resigning, I think, completely changes the cards. One, everyone is focused on the Strait of Hormuz, and arguably they should. Mm-hmm. But the real fight is going on inside Iran right now. Mm-hmm. And there are elite factions that are maneuvering for what a post-Khamenei era looks like.
Yeah.
And you know what that gives? Gives Trump more leverage.
Yeah.
So he's not staring at a clock, and that's the beauty of it. He's not acting like a first-term president that's worried about midterm elections. He's going to see this through the end, and this is going to change the global chessboard.
Yeah. Kirk, I want to talk to you about what you guys are doing here, okay? This project that you're working on, Overwatch Mission Critical, Anchors of Hope. My biggest problem, I get in the military, we were talking about this earlier, I get out, there's nothing. There's like taps, hey, here's how to apply for unemployment, have a nice day, thank you for your 9 years of service. I didn't know what I wanted to do. You guys are helping figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start at the beginning. You got to remember, a lot of the people that joined the military, they didn't do it to make money. They did it to make a difference.
That's for damn sure.
Right. So you have these people coming out of the military, and they've been exposed to the most advanced weapons, machine, and tech ever built. And I think that no one's figured out how to rewrite the constitution of a human being in 12 weeks better than Uncle Sam. So you have all these transitioning veterans that come from a leadership incubator, and they are exposed to some of the most advanced things. And there's an industry that we represent that has a massive demand for that type of talent.
Yeah, well, Mike, you're now the chief talent officer here. So the fact that you'd put talent in the name with SEALs at all is shocking to me, but me or you. But, you know, what you have is, like, I interviewed at all these places, and they were like, well, what'd you do for the last 10 years? I'm like, well, I shot bad guys in the face. They're like, well, we don't do that here at Bridgewater or whatever. I'm like, but you guys call yourselves the Navy SEALs of hedge funds. How did they make the transition?
So let's set the record straight.
Yeah.
Kirk has fired a few SEALs. I'm the last man standing, barely standing. I'll see how long I can go. But here's the deal. One, I don't think people realized, and nor did we enter the military for this reason. we defended free enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
When veterans get out, all they want is the opportunity to participate in it.
Yeah.
But they start from zero, not completely from zero. What they bring to the table in terms of leadership attributes, principles, they bring the soft skills that CEOs and managers want.
Yeah.
They can learn the hard skills. If you give them the time, if you give them the opportunity. I mean, do not forget it was the World War II generation that built the modern economy that we know today.
Yeah, no, that's true. I remember, like, look, and maybe that's the thing, that, you know, veterans need to be known as somebody who's, like, highly trainable. Like, we were in Iraq, like, one day they were like, hey, we need you to shoot this guy. The next day we need you to build a school or a pizza oven. You know, it's like, is there a YouTube video for it? Like,
yeah, you're the most versatile part of the workforce is someone that comes out and, like, we just train leaders in the military, right? So you have people that come out and they have the ability to learn at the most accelerated rates, and the expectations of them are almost unrealistic in most expectations. So we have these people coming out of the military and they just don't know about these opportunities that exist, and we're trying to encourage everyone in the G1K or the Global Fortune 1000 to take from D-Day, which is June 6th through Veterans Day, November 13th, and we're saying make a commitment on the anniversary of the 250th year of our nation. We're trying to convince 250 veterans to find a new home in this workforce.
Where have you guys found the most success? Like, what sector for veterans? Is it universal or is it?
We're going to be selfish here. The data center industry, which is the fifth industrial revolution, which is emerging.
What's the draw to that? Like, what makes them successful?
Believe it or not, most submariners, probably the most prominent of all the MOSs, but it is a mission critical space.
They're used to being locked into something.
I think we'd all agree the submariners are the worst. But if you think about it, the mission critical industry was defined by real estate people many years ago as any industry that can measure or quantify their downtime in 1 second by either death or the loss of $1 million in revenue. So if you think about it, the mission critical industry is measured in downtime. If you're in the military and you took the oath, your mission critical experience begins the day you took that oath, because we're not measured in downtime. It's measured in our own mortality. So the attention to detail that we have when we get into these new communities, I mean, as a CEO, it pencils out well getting veterans, because they just want to be paid proportionate to their value, and they want to have an opportunity to.
And where do people go to figure out more about this thing?
They can find us online at weareoverwatch.com, or they could find Mike Sarraille basically anywhere.
At his OnlyFans account?
Yes, exactly. it's cranking right now.
All right, guys. Hey, I'm really happy you shared this stuff. I hope people can go on there.
Thanks for giving us this
Thanks for
privilege.
log on. All right, cool. Mike, Kirk, thanks. Coming up, nothing says summer like Pride Month, followed by America 250's birthday, the latest stunt from the libs, and their effort to not celebrate anything that this country really was founded on. That and Culture Clash next.
For pain in multiple spots like here, here, or here, Salonpas patches stick firmly and remove comfortably once your pain is gone. Salonpas. It's good medicine. Your plumbing leaks, your AC goes out, your washing machine breaks down. When it happens, don't panic. One call and we handle it all. Surround your home's major systems and appliances with peace of mind. With Choice Home Warranty, you can finally have peace of mind and protection for costly repairs and replacements.
It eliminates anxiety, frustration, and it saves you money. I recommend using Choice Home Warranty.
Choice Home Warranty covers the repair and replacement of over 25 key systems and appliances. If one breaks down, it won't break the bank getting it repaired or replaced.
Things will break down, so that's why you definitely need Choice Home Warranty service to give you the peace of mind of knowing that they will solve your issue.
Every system and appliance will need repair at some point. With over 100,000 five-star customer reviews raving about our service, Choice Home Warranty is always ready when you need us.
We've been with Choice Home Warranty for over 7 years because it's been easy, it's been affordable, and they take care of everything that we need.
Call right now to get your special phone deal. Plus, ask how you can get your first month free. There's no home inspection, no commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Join more than 2.4 million homes nationwide who have protected their home with Choice. And Choice has a huge nationwide network of trusted technicians. Surround your home systems and appliances and yourself with the award-winning company that's been named the best home warranty company and best claim service. They are available 24/7, and every Choice Home Warranty plan covers repairs and replacements.
When the appliance breaks down, you need the security of a home warranty, and for me, it's Choice Home Warranty.
Call Choice Home Warranty now and learn about special phone pricing only available today. Plus, ask how you can get your first month free.
Call 800-211-0878. That's 800-211-0878. Call now.
Hey, I'm Dr. Drupinski. I've been looking at the aging process for a long time. Fatty 15 actually slows it down. Fatty 15 comes out of Navy dolphin research. Without the C15, our cells become fragile and age and oxidize. This pushes that back. That's why I take Fatty 15.
As we mark 250 years of America, Wounded Warrior Project honors those who serve. They've given us their commitment and sacrifice. We're here to give them a brighter future. Our programs and services help warriors access VA benefits, improve mental and physical health, and thrive for a lifetime. They've given us their best. Join us in supporting them through the next 250 years of strength and resilience. Visit woundedwarriorproject.org/USA 250.
Every day, bumps and bangs happen. Bruises are optional. Use daily dermatologist-recommended Dermend and reduce the appearance of bruises. Get Dermend Moisturizing Bruise Cream in the first aid aisle.
I've gone to every corner of this state Texas, over the course of this campaign. Beaumont to El Paso, from Amarillo to Brownsville, and everywhere in between. And we have had tens of thousands of Texans showing up to rally with us. And I can't tell you the number of people who come up to me at the end of these events and whisper, I'm not a Democrat, like they're in the Witness Protection Program.
Vote for me, I'm authentic. Would you look at that? Another Democrat on script. This comparison making its rounds on James Talarico's campaign trail in two different interviews. The rehearsed lines that aren't, by the way, most of those things aren't even true. If you live in one of those towns, can you just tweet at us or X at us or something? Let us know if he's ever been there or is just full of it. Because there is no shot Texas Republicans are going to let you sit there and this closeted vegan who believes that God is non-binary and there's 6 genders, all this weird stuff, over Ken Paxton. Right, okay. Speaking of closeted, Talarico's mystery girlfriend has just poof, appeared out of nowhere that apparently is the love of his life. It's a 30-year-old Brianna Menard, okay? She's a political lobbyist who previously worked as his chief of staff. Now, I thought, judging from last week's Democrat talking points, that dating your staffers was a bad thing, but I don't know. Describing herself as a committed vegan who loves plant-based Whole Foods, popcorn, and tofu. Yeah, that's going to be great in Texas. Newsmax contributor Chrissy Clark and Daily Caller senior politics reporter Ashley Brasfield. Chrissy, look, she kind of appeared out of nowhere.
Oh, this is incredibly random. And this entire campaign has gone from being, I'm the moderate, to I'm the most far left liberal out there. His church is involved in all kinds of true sadism, from encouraging funding Planned Parenthood to working with the Church of Scientology. There's so many weird things about Talarico, but the point of a campaign is to find out whether an individual is good at making decisions, and time again, this man has displayed to us that he's not good at making decisions.
But Ashley, I feel like someone was like, hey, ChatGPT, how do I look Texan? And he's just going down the list in itemized fashion.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, I think the pictures of the girlfriend tell you everything you need to know that came out. I know that another outlet reached out to Talarico's campaign today and asked, is this the only staffer he's dated? I think that's a valid question. Yep. Coming from the Democrat talking points of last week, that was not okay. Of course,
and what was their gender?
Yeah, exactly. And so, you have the vegan aspects of this, but I remember this guy going on Joe Rogan and thinking, he is basically performing for the Texas audience in this instance, and why he will probably beat Jasmine Crockett in the primary, which he did. So I do think that the Democrats, they're putting the better one forward in this instance, I would say. But there's going to be more coming out in this campaign. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, well, speaking of the LGBTQ community, we're officially in Pride Month, and I will not be participating in any of it, but a lesbian minister in Nantucket, Massachusetts, of all places, is canceling her church's annual 4th of July celebrations in a political protest act, writing, "A celebration without context and the centering of our fullness of our American story only perpetuates the harm, injustice, and anti-democratic process. Our canceling the 4th of July celebration this year reflects the deep concern," blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, Chrissy, it's the 4th of July, okay? I celebrated the 4th of July under all the Democrats, under Clinton, Obama, and by Jill Biden. I guess she was the president. I mean, well, why can't you just do it, shut up, and just minister things?
This is always so frustrating when it comes from even just a political activist group, but to see it coming from a church is really just demeaning and truly disgusting. That is not the point of church. The whole thing, the whole point is to point people towards Jesus and not celebrating America, which has been a beacon of freedom for the Christian faith, is just completely asinine, Carl. I have no words for something as truly disgusting as this.
Yeah, well, that's offensive in Pride Month, I would say. All right, Jill Biden making her press rounds, Ashley. New book that she's, we said this was going to happen. What's going on? But she's backtracking on a bunch of stuff that everybody could see. Roll this.
His memory had worsened over the course of his presidency.
He aged. He did. He got older, and we all saw him aging. There were the words that he would forget. But, we were all aging.
Did you ever see signs that he was falling into cognitive decline?
No.
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 Truly.
No.
Actually, if you start as Rip Van Winkle and 4 years later, you end like the guy who chose poorly in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I remember, talking to people, friends, family during this whole presidential election, and they really weren't shaking their heads at President Joe Biden. They were shaking their heads at the former First Lady in this instance. And you see her going back and forth on her word, saying, "Oh, no, I did not see any cognitive decline. Oh, we saw the aging." I mean, there's another interview that she's done that's saying that he had a stroke. So which is it?
Right.
And how much were you a part of it? I think that's what the average American was thinking. The wife of the President of the United States allowing him to go out in that way. I think that was the main question there that a lot of Americans still have and are seeing it play out now.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about who was using the auto pen while the Crypt Keeper was taking a nap at 2 p.m. But speaking of stupid, take a look at these two headlines from CNN here, Chrissy. One from 2020 saying 19 families buy nearly 97 acres of land in Georgia to create a city safe for black people. But then in 2026, a community for whites only in Arkansas sued for discrimination. I mean, it's so stupid.
Well, we have to think about the brainwashing that goes into wanting to work at CNN. Nonetheless, the brainwashing that goes into writing two headlines that are so similar yet there's complete cognitive dissonance on how you come to the conclusion that one of those things is bad and one is not. But these are the same people that are upset about what's going on with racial segregation being outlawed in our country. These are people that are just so bought into the idea that black people are less than, and they have this really weird view of like looking down on black people like a white savior complex. And it's very belittling, and it showcases, this is yet another example of that being showcased.
The white saviors at CNN. That's who I want coming to protect me. Chrissy, Ashley, pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
CNN. All right, coming up, Henry Nowak, a university student murdered by a migrant and could have probably survived that if cops had actually listened to him and were less worried about thought crimes. Next.
If your roof looks like this, your home is at risk. A new metal roof from Erie Home withstands wind up to 120 miles per hour and hail up to 2 inches, all backed by a 50-year warranty. Call now for 50% off installation. Get your free estimate now.
Doctors say having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care and pharmacy at home. Let me bring in Dr. McCullough to explain more.
Most people know when they're getting sick, but waiting to see a doctor is often too late.
So the key is having medicines before you need them.
Yes, and it includes doctor-prescribed medicines to treat common and serious issues like generic Z-Pak, amoxicillin, antibiotics, antivirals for flu, pneumonia, strep, ear and sinus infections, UTIs, and more.
So it is like having an urgent care at home.
Exactly. No waiting, no pharmacy, no copays. You feel better faster and avoid serious complications and hospitalizations.
How do you know what to take?
Just match your symptoms to the doctor-written guide or schedule a quick telehealth call.
Great advice. I understand ordering is fast online, and we've put the website and $45 off code on the screen. Thank you, doctor.
Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code news.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. I'd look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Relief Factor is a daily supplement that doesn't just mask pain, it helps eliminate it. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
My dad has never been in better shape. He had a stroke and passed away. He had a life insurance policy. Ethos.com. In 10 minutes, you can be covered with life insurance.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back.
Break away to what's possible with Tremfya.
The only IL-23 blocker for Crohn's and UC to offer self-administration from the start.
Tremfya can help with symptom relief as early as 4 weeks, remission at 12 weeks, 1 year, and 2 years.
Some had visible repair of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Break away with Tremfya.
Backed by over 15 years of clinical research. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
I keep going back to that thing that happened in the UK, where a guy literally bled out and died in handcuffs after being stabbed by somebody who just claimed that he was being discriminated against. Now, don't take my word for it. Listen to his father today.
With his final words, he told officers that he could not breathe. He told them he had been stabbed. In fact, Henry told officers that he could not breathe 9 times.
Yeah, I get that was a big deal when it happened with George Floyd while dying of a fentanyl overdose, but not when this kid said it. Yet this is the same police department that had put that kid in handcuffs saying I couldn't breathe that bent the knee to George Floyd. And without consequences, mind you. The same stuff is going to happen over and over and over again unless they lock these officers. Will there be an apology? Sure, yeah. And then everybody's going to move on. And no police officer as of now is going to go to jail for this. What if they make the wrong call again? Like, if their tail was on the line, they would.
I'm sorry that he was handcuffed and arrested in the moments before he lost consciousness. When his killer made that call to police, and he called the police, not the ambulance service, he lied on that call. He lied when police attended the scene. He continued to lie as Henry's condition deteriorated.
Oh, he lied on the call. Oh, now they're sorry. Okay, cool. Did he tell the officer, just watch the tape? He told the officer 11 times, I can't breathe, and 9 times, sorry. And the only reason I keep bringing it up, and I'm so hot on this all along because people like Elon Musk are hot on it too. This thought crime stuff is exactly what the left wants here. But this kid is dead because the officers are more interested in thought crimes or the offensive words he said than the fact that he was stabbed by a minority. As of this afternoon, that Sikh man finally, thankfully, who did the stabbing has been sentenced to 21 years in jail for it. I mean, good, but this means that the police officers were wrong. And maybe that kid would still be alive. The police officers made the wrong and, quite frankly, a stupid call, and a kid died as a result of that. These police officers should be serving that 21 years alongside this other Sikh guy who did the stabbing. This is not an accidental death at all. Think about what happened here. Forget about the fact that this was, in the UK. I don't care about the entire continent of Europe plus the UK, but police put a guy in handcuffs who was stabbed because they thought he said something mean to a Sikh guy in a thought crime at the word of the guy who did the stabbing. The fact that they were reflexively siding with the minority guy over the white guy simply because of that, simply because the minority said, oh, the white man said something mean, and then stabbed him with a ceremonial wipe, is ridiculous. But this virtue signaling, which is the fundamental principle of the left, that if you're not white, you get some special dispensation because of that. In this case, he felt that it was acceptable to stab somebody because, I don't know, maybe he felt like it, with a knife, by the way, that would have been illegal for the white guy to carry. But because it was ceremonial and religious, it was fine. But the notion of words being an arrestable offense is on the horizon here in America. They want that here. Remember when they sentenced a guy to jail for telling Hillary Clinton supporters to vote by text? It was a joke, clearly. But this goes back to COVID, where you were accused of killing old people if you said the vaccine didn't do the things they said it did, even though there was no evidence that it did those things, and we all of us critics ended up being right. No, the left legit wanted people locked up for going against what they wanted the narrative to be.
I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence.
For speech. They want difference of opinion from them, of course, to be a criminal offense. Like, where you should be arrested? At a minimum, erased from public society. Joe Biden, or whoever was running the auto pen, I think his wife, Jill, not a real doctor, they hired Nina Jankowicz, who made an entire position up that was like the liaison. We called it the Ministry of Truth. I don't remember what the actual office was called. It was the authority, though, to go to these social media companies and basically strip people's public voice by saying, no, you shouldn't be letting them on your platform. We know they did that. That's why this is so important to draw a line in the sand where, like, I know it's a different country, but again, these officers need to be fired because the UK and Europe and all those other radical globalists are only a few years ahead of America. Oh, what about the First Amendment, Carl? Yeah, Democrats just trample whatever they want. It always trickles over here. And if you can put somebody in handcuffs while they're stabbed and not the person who did the stabbing, you got big problems, bro. Which, by the way, it turns out the officers, now they're acknowledging that, maybe we were lied to by the guy who did the stabbing. Yeah, that sounds like a super credible witness. And the officers are now sorry. Sorry. They just released the body camera footage, and they don't look even remotely sorry in that. They told the guy, I don't think you've been stabbed, mate. I hope this spurs like some sort of revolution in the UK, because if it doesn't stop there, it's going to end up here in this country where we live in a society now, because half the country, 48%, of the country want to silence us because they disagree with us. We're silencing smart people because stupid people are offended. It's so dumb. You can't speak at a school board meeting because it might be offensive to the school board while they sit there not doing their job. But you can go to an ICE facility, peg officers with frozen water bottles, but then they can threaten your family. That's the progression here in America, especially if you're a white person. It's unbelievable. Whatever. I just hope it doesn't come here. Before we go, another day, a new scam out of California. Tax dollars to give free stuff to illegal immigrants. More next.
The press won't report the real story.
The American people are actually very smart.
Ridiculous statements.
These guys are just plain weird.
Actual scandals.
Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported.
That's my job, and I aim to do it every night.
Have you ever thought of getting a walk-in tub for you or someone you love? Now is a great time to take a look at getting a Safe Step walk-in tub.
With Safe Step's standard heated seat and new fast fill faucet, you can enjoy a nice warm bath up to 20% faster. And the convenient touchpad control is right at your fingertips.
Each tub comes standard with a dual hydrotherapy system. The 10 water jets can help increase mobility, relieve pain, boost energy, and improve sleep, while the MicroSoothe advanced air therapy system oxygenates and softens skin.
Safe Step walk-in tubs are built to maximize safety so you can stay in your home and enjoy the comforts of bathing again.
So call now for more information and a free no-obligation consultation.
When you call today, you'll also receive our limited time offer. Don't wait to enjoy safer bathing. Call 1-800-296-0431.
People always ask me how I stay ready, how I stay consistent, how I lock in when it actually counts, again and again. It's the work you do before anyone's watching. They think I must be on something. Maybe. It's pure, it's potent. It's all me. Something that never lets me down. Armra. I'm on it.
Hi, I'm Sally with SellMyPolicy.com, the fast concierge service here to help you sell your life insurance policy for cash now. Our experienced team makes it fast and easy for you to get your offer. Use the money however you want. Cover healthcare costs, pay off debt, or take the trip of a lifetime. Use the funds for supplemental retirement income, investments, or home improvements, or give money to loved ones now rather than later. Jon sold his policy for $590,000 in cash, which he used to pay for health care. And Cheryl sold her policy for $90,000 in cash and used it to supplement her retirement income. If you are over 65 with a life insurance policy of $100,000 of coverage up to $50 million of coverage, then you may qualify. With Sell My Policy, some people choose to sell all or just part of their policy so they can access cash now while also keeping coverage in place for their loved ones.
It's easy to find out what your policy could be worth today. Call 800-961-7355. That's 800-961-7355. Or visit sellmypolicy.com.
Why lapse or surrender your policy? Sell it and you can stop making premium payments. You may receive substantially more cash than what your insurance carrier will offer. Plus, you'll get paid fast. Arthur sold his policy for $84,000 in cash, which he used to help reduce his debt. SellMyPolicy.com has a large network of funders. That means more money in your pocket. If you or a loved one has a policy, call now. Trusted by seniors, there's no obligation to sell. Find out what your policy is worth today.
It's fast and free with Sell My Policy.
Talk with a policy expert now to see how much cash you could receive. Call 800-961-7355. That's 800-961-7355. Or visit sellmypolicy.com. Sellmypolicy.com.
So there's this big talk of solar scams in California right now. The latest is this $49 million for solar panels for illegals. California has a program that allows you to replace or offset your alleged carbon footprint by handing your solar, they just give you solar panels for your house. But it's all a scam. It's all garbage. It's all trash. It's all BS. This is just another example of the government taking your money, they light it on fire, and they flush the ashes down the toilet. They did the same thing to me in Connecticut. I get this call from this guy. Hey, I'm a solar panel dude. I've been looking, and I've been looking to get off the grid. So I'm like, okay, let me talk to this guy. Says to the guy, says, tell me about this program. He's like, oh, you don't pay a dime today. I said, okay, that sounds great. It's free. He goes, no, it's actually $60,000. Come to find out that in most of these blue states, they offer you these free programs for now, then they have you hooked up to the grid. So you can't be off the grid with these programs without owning, when you owe any money on the system, which they give it to you for like a 30-year mortgage. So I asked the guy point blank, so am I paying for the solar panels on my house that I'm not allowed to store the energy, not allowed to have batteries, that is then fed back to the power grid? You only give me a couple cents on the dollar for the power I sell back on the panels that I'm paying for. Oh, and obviously only charges when the sun is shining, which is during the day. I'm at work, so it doesn't matter. And I get home and it's dark out and I got to use the panel, all the power from the grid, Rob. It sounds like complete garbage.
There's some spectacular scams in the green energy
I
world.
pay
It's
to
amazing.
put solar panels on my house so it feed everybody else.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
This is
Happy
the
Pride
way they do it. And a lot of people have made a fortune off of these scams, too, and the government just paid for all of it.
Nope.
Carl, good to see you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.